Our first guest is no stranger to Atlanta. Xavier Brandon, also known as Professor X, is a mentor as well as hip-hop artist that incorporates his love for God into his music. His nonprofit organization, Zekes Dream Center, has given him the opportunity to mentor and lead youth and young adults from Marietta to Southwest Atlanta. Please give him a warm welcome. Professor X, thank you so much for joining me today on the couch. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you for having me. It's been a long time.
Thank you so much for joining us. So tell me a little bit about Zekes Dream Center and about yourself, wherever you'd like to start.
Awesome. All right. So a little bit about me. My name is Xavier Stephen Brandon, but everybody knows me as Professor X.
Okay.
I hail from the great city of Brooklyn, New York. Grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then came to Atlanta for college. I attended Morehouse College. Graduated in 2010. Then went to seminary at Emory University for Candler School of Theology. Graduated from there in 2013 and got married. I have two beautiful kids, one named Brooklyn and another one named Malik. I'm a hip hop artist.
Okay.
I've been rapping since I was 12. I love hip hop, eat, breathe, sleep it. I also love kids and youth and young adults. I feel like I'm like called to them in a way. So that's how Zekes actually was formed. So around my sophomore, junior year, I was riding around in a truck with my mentor, Raphael from my church. And I was really confused about what my purpose was and my calling, what I was going to be doing with my life. I felt like everybody around me had something. And so I started talking to him, and he started really speaking into my life that I was supposed to be doing something working with youth in like a recreation center. When I was in high school, I worked at the YMCA.
Okay. And
I really got into, I was a day camp counselor, and so I was out there with the kids and stuff, and I really felt like I wanted to be able to create something that was like a recreation center for youth, but I wanted to focus on their dreams and their gifts. So one day I was praying and I was talking to the Lord, and he brought me to this book in the Bible called Ezekiel in chapter 37. And so Ezekiel was a prophet in the Old Testament, and God and him were having a conversation in this valley of dry bones, and God was asking Ezekiel, do you believe these bones could live? And so Ezekiel said yes. And so he said, prophesy to the bones. So he did, and then the bones started to become alive. And so then, but it wasn't quite living yet. So God asked Ezekiel again, do you believe these bones could live? So he said, yes, these bones could live. And he said, prophesy again. And it says that the winds of the four winds of the earth came into these bones, and they became like an army. And God gave me the revelation that the valley of dry bones is people's dreams. They don't believe that their dreams can live. And so they need somebody to be able to speak life into them. And so much so it's going to be like a militia, an army. And so I'm trying to create a militia, an army of young people who know what their dreams are, and then connect them with their God-given purpose.
So it sounds like discipleship in a way. So you're saying Ezekiel, the word or the term Zekes Dream Center came from the book in the Bible, Ezekiel.
Yeah.
And he was a prophet. He spoke into these bones and saying these dry bones should live.
Yeah.
And your dreams can live as well. That's fantastic. So tell me a little bit about the demographics of the young people that you reach.
Okay, so I reach middle school, high school, and college students. So that's pretty much everyone from the age of probably like 10 to 11 up to 21, 22-year-olds. And so primarily what we do is I work in Southwest Atlanta, so that's like Campbellton Road. And so we work with middle and high school students there in the community. And I get college students from the AUC, if you don't know where that is, Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, and Spelman College. And they come into Campbellton Road and mentor the students there. We call them all dreamers because every kid has a dream. And so we call them dreamers. So the dream mentors come and work with the dreamers, and it kind of builds this pipeline. So at least there's a connection even from middle school all the way up to college. And so that's kind of like the demographics. The majority of them come from either low-income families, or some of them are middle class. So some go to Brown Middle School, some go to KIPS high schools, Washington high schools, or I think Thero is around there and things like that. And so we have a partnership with Shamrock Gardens Apartments. So we get students from there, and we take them to the Andrew Young and Walter Young YMCA because there's a connection there with the executive director. His name is Gavin McGuire. He's a Morehouse man. I'm a Morehouse man.
All right, there's
we
the
love
connect.
Hip hop.
Yes.
I love hip hop. He loves Jesus. I love Jesus. So it kind of was a
automatic connection.
Automatic connection. And so he allows us to go in there for free. We use the facility. I use my Zekes curriculum that I've created to go and help them with their dreams. They feed them. They play basketball, games, all types of things. It's kind of like an after party. So I set DJ equipment up, so I DJ for them.
You DJ?
Oh yeah, I DJ too. So I rap, I DJ, I speak, I'm an activist, I love the Lord, I'm a revolutionary, a father, I do a lot.
Busy man.
Yeah, busy man. But through that, I believe that kids learn through play. You know, the stats show that. And so if we can create an environment, a safe environment where they can have fun, but they can also learn design thinking. They can learn biblical principles, a code, and they have fun in doing it at the same time. I think they're going to be able to be great change agents in the communities that they serve. So
you said a little bit about biblical teachings. Can you talk about the morals that you may be teaching these young people and how they mirror or parallel a little bit?
Yeah, so nowadays, I'm just gonna be honest, kids don't read the Bible, okay? Kids hardly going to church, they're not doing anything. And so really, any great practitioner or great teacher or minister has to be able to understand a subject and be able to flip it in a way that the people that you're teaching can be able to apply it
or
use
practical.
Make it practical. So what I do is I take biblical principles such as like the golden rule.
Right.
Do unto others you will have them do unto you. Right. We learned that in 3rd grade.
Absolutely.
And I flip it in a way where I have these things called the 12 commandments of a dreamer, which is pretty much like the code of which we govern ourselves by. I will love and hate no one. I will do unto others, I will have them do unto me. I will respect others, I will do better. I will not say I can't, I will achieve my dreams. Things like that. And so through that, that's kind of breaks up in a way, it's like, okay. And so what I do, like I did last semester, I broke up each session and we focused on 2 principles, 2 commandments each. And so we talked about what does this mean? How do we apply it? What does it look like to do this at school, in our family, in our community? Because if you don't live by a code, then you're not going to be able to achieve your dreams.
Absolutely.
You're not going to have the discipline or the diligence to be able to execute properly. So I believe everybody needs to be able to live by a code. And so why not teach them young to be able to do that?
So you mentioned how you create a pipeline from middle school to college. Can you talk a little bit about the outreach on the collegiate level?
Okay, so we have a division called Plugged AUC.
Okay.
It's a college ministry that me and the college students down there created. And so we focus on the same types of things. So we do Bible studies on campus. We do day parties. Because again, in a collegiate level, you got to be able to reach them where they are.
Right, be relatable.
Exactly. And so the people that we like to talk to, target, they like to party. So why not throw a party? And
so do you DJ those sometimes too?
So I will be on this one. So because there's an organization called Young Life. They're a great institution. They believe in you have to earn the right to be heard. You know, and I believe that same thing. People don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Absolutely.
And so if you haven't built the relational capital, they're not going to believe you. So what we did was we figured, okay, let's find the best DJ in the AUC. Let's get some food because we all love food. And college students need food. And let's do some games, some fun games let's do during the day. And we've shown that's been pretty successful in not only getting people plugged in to our college ministry, but also giving them a good time. So the next one we got coming up is going to be on the 28th. It's going to be like from 3 to 6 at Morehouse. And we're going to games, music, grill, empowerment work because they about to go into finals.
Right.
And so we do things like that.
Say it one more time just so our TV listeners will be able to plug in. If they're on campus or they have a young person in college, they can say, hey, the next event is? Yeah,
it's going to be April 28th from 3 to 6 p.m. at Morehouse College in the Kilgore Plaza. It's called the Function Day Party. We're going to have food, games, music, good time, try to pump the students up because they're about to go in the finals. So we want to make sure that they go in with their minds right. And so it's going to be great. So we do that every Monday night. We do a Bible study at 817 called The Move.
Okay.
817 just a number that people going to remember. It has no real significance to it.
I was going to be like, what does that mean?
Yeah, but it's called The Move because we're all trying to move closer to a relationship with God, no matter if you just met God or if you're a veteran. And so we do that every Monday. We also meet at the Chick-fil-A there on campus. And we meet there like almost every day, and we just hang out and build relationships with students. And so that's kind of what we do. And then we take the same principles as Zekes and helping students figure out what their purpose is. Connecting them with internships, and just being a big brother and big sister to college students. Because when you're in college, you're away from home and you need those mentors. I know I did when I was there. I needed a mentor. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't have mentors that were guiding me all throughout my life. And I believe it's only right that I pay it forward and do the same thing.
Absolutely. It seems like your organization is a resource to young people and young adults.
Yes.
What are some of the ways that you find funding or donations? Can you talk a little bit about, the business side of it?
Yeah. So historically, it's very hard to fund ministries, nonprofits that deal with urban communities.
Right.
That's just what it is. And so through monthly giving or yearly giving through personal donors, reaching out and connecting with them, that's how we get donors or money to fund it. Also through grants, having people be grant writers and friends and family say, hey, I found this grant, this might be good for you. And what I'm also doing right now is trying to come up with strategic business ideas to be able to fund it, because in African-American communities, African-Americans don't really give to African-Americans, they give to causes of organizations, and the primary cause of organization is to churches, the Black church, right? Well, the Black church doesn't really give to other organizations outside of it because they're just not really missional minded. And so as practitioners and nonprofit executives or whatever you want to call us, you have to come up with strategic and creative ways, whether it's through hosting trainings and charging for trainings, workshops, business ideas. We're just trying to think bigger and creatively more than we did before, because you can always ask somebody for something and it's a chance whether or not, but if you have a great service like the NFL, like the NFL has a great service, it's $1 billion industry, but it's a nonprofit. So
imagine that.
Right, exactly. So you wouldn't think, I never knew the NFL was a nonprofit until a few months ago, and it was like, well, if they can do it, why can't we create great services or great things for people that really need it? And where we're teaching, we're empowering, we're uplifting, and they're going away, change and transform. So
I have 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap up.
All right,
How do you measure success?
Okay, I measure success because, again, we're trying to identify, cultivate, and manifest dreams. If a student comes to us and they don't know what they want to do with their life, and they figure out what they want to do, they have a plan to do it, and they start implementing it, and they can connect that plan or that dream to their God-given purpose, that's how I know we were successful. So it's not about how many number of people we come. It's not about, money or anything. It's about really have their lives been changed or transformed from the time they met us to the time they leave us, because we're trying to make change agents. We're just not trying to come here and bring people together. That's great. But we're trying to take people like the X-Men, right? We're trying to bring mutants who are freaks of nature, who are beasts into an environment, train them up in a danger room, and take them to a place where they can be able to change the world. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Professor X, this has been a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today at In Contact.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
No problem.